Hey, I'm Zachary and I am going around the world in 80 days with my father, and I'm sharing my experience with you. Okay, so right now I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I've had an amazing experience here so far. I went on a safari yesterday, the day before, I can't remember, and it was great to see a bunch of really cool animals. I saw a dead rhino. That was pretty nasty, but the people here are incredibly friendly, and to the degree that sometimes I feel like have we met before? Because you're acting like you know me, and it's pretty awesome. But I do want to highlight something here about that. I feel like in every single country I've said that the people are friendly. And I don't want that just to be a throwaway comment, because a narrative we are often fed in the West is about how Americans are hated world over, and the left tells us this all the time. It is not true at all. Oftentimes when I tell people I'm from the United States, they become starry-eyed and are talking about how they'd love to come to the United States. And I think the left's narrative that Americans are hated is simply to further their agenda of changing the United States. But Americans are not hated, and this is my 39th time to be in a different country, and I've never once encountered that. So when you're on the safari, you stay in the car the entire time because they're loose animals, like lions and whatnot. We saw a lady who just running along the side of the road. It's like, woman, you're going to get mauled by a lion. But she just kept doing her thing. For all I know, she actually was mauled by a lion, but who knows? Check out this random red poodle. This morning I got to go to the Apartheid Museum, and then after that Nelson Mandela's house in Soweto. And it's interesting how apartheid and racism have really controlled this country's identity for like the last 70-ish years. And I just wanted to comment on that because a lot of what we are calling racism in the United States simply does not rise to the level of what we see here. And to say that it does is almost to do a disservice to the real racism that I've seen here. And it's gotten incredibly better, to where there's been a lot of racial reconciliation and that people are living together again. But for those 50-ish years, to see doorways that were labeled whites and blacks separately, and the hardship that people endured, blacks most of all, far and away, is very interesting to see. And I would caution against comparing the two, because they are not the same. To say that they are is to diminish the efforts of those who actually lived through this. In India, the slums were a disaster. They were a mess and they were unlivable. People were practically stacked on top of each other, and it was disgusting. That actually is not really true here in South Africa, though there is a great deal of poverty. And this morning I got to go to Soweto, which is what they call a township, just on the outside of Johannesburg. It's essentially a slum. But it was fascinating to me to see how clean and organized it was, despite their poverty, to where though their buildings are all made out of sheet metal, you'll have a building with a window cut in it that will say above the window cell phone repair, and another that will say hair salon, and how despite their conditions they've actually kept everything very clean and organized, even though there will be, say, 500 people to 5 bathrooms, and it's a mess, but still very clean and organized. So that was an interesting thing to notice.